Ready to go. You can eat the popcorn too, though. I don't need it, but yeah, it's tasty. Yee! Welcome to Get Your Popcorn Ready. It's your host, Hatch, and your boy,
T.O. And he
in
has
the building.
Yeah.
Get your mind right, boy.
Get your mind right.
Today, coming to the building, we got actor Boris Kodjoe, superstar.
Right. But before that, I want everybody out there to subscribe to GPR on the Himalaya app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Subscribe to the Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast.
Now,
we have coming to the building today. All y'all ladies, go ahead, tune in this week because you have the heartthrob actor.
Not me.
Definitely not him. Y'all.
Yeah. I know they got excited when they talk about coming in here and then heartthrob. No, I am a heartthrob in so many ways. Maybe because you're not.
Heartache.
That
anyway,
too. I'm sure Boris, I guarantee you, Boris can probably tell you he was a heartache for a lot of people too.
You have no idea what his life was like.
Oh my God.
For sure.
Let me tell you something. He's a lucky man.
He's a lucky man. Right?
I would say she's a lucky woman.
Lady.
They both are.
They're both complement each other.
Right.
Well.
But he's a lucky man.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of women mad when they tied the knot.
He got married. Well, they just gonna have to be mad.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's the
actor
problem.
Boris Kodjoe coming to the building today, coming on the show, talk a little bit about his acting career right now. He's got going on the show Station 19 is on right now. Again, he started his whole career from Soul Food. Remember that TV show back in the day, Soul Food?
Soul Food. Man, I could eat me some soul. I could use some soul
I'm so hungry right now,
boy.
So you know what's funny? But again, our show, we're always talking about sports and entertainment and how they cross platforms. He used to be a professional, semi-pro, actually, tennis player when he was in Germany. And so we're looking forward to having him come on and kind of tell us his transition, how he went from sports into the entertainment industry.
I mean, a number of transitions. You think about sports and then like
modeling. After that,
yeah. But yeah, when I think of like two like handsome models, him and Shamar Moore comes to mind.
Because they're the same color?
That too. But I realize and I understand the reaction.
Light skin.
No, I've seen we see the reaction, for the women, to the women when they see Shamar Moore, Boris Kodjoe.
Yeah, they love him. But yeah, we glad to have you on the show today, buddy.
And by the way, you don't look anything like Boris Kodjoe, so don't even try it.
You can't be a hater all your life, you know what I'm saying? Yee! Subscribe on the Himalaya app or wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome to Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast. It's your host, Hatch, with my boy,
T.O.
coming to the building today. All right, all you ladies, go ahead and tune in today because your man, Boris Kodjoe, is in the building.
What's up, fellas?
You see that? He brought the voice out.
What's up, fellas?
How you doing? You know what I'm saying?
The heartthrob.
The superstar actor got Station 19 on right now.
Yep.
Doing that. Of course, you've been, how long you been in the business now?
This is going to be year 20 for me.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a vet. Officially, I'm a vet.
Wow.
It's been
Boris, when you stepped on the scene.
You shut it down? You shut it down?
What? Come on, dog.
Come on, man.
What was your, let's go back a little bit. So what was your very first role?
The very first role was, I played a water boy on the Steve Harvey show. That's how far back.
I want to see that.
And then the first job, the first series I got was Soul Food.
Oh, that was the first. Wow.
That was my first series.
Wow. That was my very first audition, actually.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I had never been on audition. When I came out to LA in an off season, and Dwayne Martin at the time was my agent, and I got to audition for that. So you probably got my spot.
There's no probably in it.
I'm just
got
saying.
Your spot.
Hey,
I'm looking at both of you now.
What you talking about?
Him,
you know what time it is. You know what time it is.
All day long.
Hey.
First of all, they saw that forehead.
Oh my God!
And they was like, "Ain't no way."
Hey, no need to be mean.
You see, he's a bully. Right. He be trying to bully me on here, Boris.
Needless to say,
he be trying to bully me on here.
I think Soul Food made the right decision.
Nah, we look the same. It's like, people walk up to me all the time and say, hey, you look like this guy Hatch.
No,
yes,
they
yes,
don't.
they do.
No,
Yes, they do.
This guy Hatch.
You know what I'm saying? That's pretty. That sounds like right. Sounds like a true story.
Oh, he gonna run. He gonna take that and run with it.
As well, I should. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
I'm glad to be here, guys. Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate
man, thanks
that.
for coming out. Yeah, let's take you back a little bit. Where are you from? Where are you from originally?
Born in Austria, in Vienna, but grew up in Germany. My mom's German.
All right, you speak German too?
Speak German. That was my first language. My father's from Ghana, West Africa.
Wow.
They met in Europe in med school. Dad's an anesthesiologist, or he passed 3 years ago.
Oh man, sorry to hear that, brother.
Yes, and my mother's a psychologist.
Nice.
So I grew up in Germany. Me, my little brother Pat. You know Pat?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's 4 years younger, so we grew up. We were the only two black boys in the whole town.
Right.
So that came with a bunch of challenges, naturally growing up.
Even with your color,
around.
that's crazy. Light skin,
especially because
that made it worse, right?
No, because we look different. So anytime you look different, your hair's different. Your complexion.
A minority.
Yeah, and you gotta, kids are mean. They bully you, they tease you. So every day we had to endure that kind of bullying growing up in Germany. My mom, she's white, so she had to endure a lot of it.
And speaking of kids, you have kids now. So are you educating your kids on, like you said, bullying things?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's important, especially, they grew up in a whole different environment. We didn't have to deal with social media. We didn't have to deal with with the attacks from the internet, right?
Yep.
And my kids, Sophie's turning 15 tomorrow.
Awesome.
And Nicholas is 13.
Happy birthday, Sophie.
Happy birthday, baby.
There you go.
So they grow up with a whole ecosystem of bullies and haters and people who want nothing but to spread negativity.
Yep.
And so I don't allow them on social media at all.
I was going to ask you.
No, they're not on social media.
No?
No, they don't have I don't think kids are equipped to deal
I agree.
with the onslaught of hatred and negativity. It's detrimental to their development, I believe.
I agree.
Right.
So I won't let them on social media until they are old enough, in my eyes, to deal with that kind of pressure and influence.
Yeah. So what's old enough in your eyes?
We'll see how they develop.
Because how old are they now?
Sophie's 15 tomorrow. 15. Nicholas is 13, and
but that's an age where kids already have phones.
They've had, their friends have had phones and social media since they were 9, 10 years old.
Those ain't your kids.
But not my kids.
There you go.
Right? And they've told me, they were mad, but I said, look, guys, these are not my kids. You guys are my kids.
Right. Absolutely.
So I want to make sure that you grow up with plenty of time and freedom to develop your character and become who you want to become. And the internet is a distractor.
Not who the world
wants you to become.
Yeah. Because it's already, I went through it as a teenager in Germany, because when I was walking around and going to places, the minute I stepped into a restaurant, all eyes were on me because of, I look different, right? So when you experience that at a young age, it becomes your parallel consciousness. So not only are you aware of who you're supposed to be, but also aware of how people perceive you. So I would walk around, and then slowly I started acting like I thought people wanted to perceive me. So I took on this whole other personality, which wasn't me. So I became like a representative of who I really was. So that pressure kids have every day now, because they're so acutely aware of how people live on their social network and the things they experience. There's jealousy, there's feelings of being inferior to those other kids because you don't have what they have, you don't have the same clothes, you don't drive the same car, right? So it influences kids in a way that is purely 100% negative. And I wanted to give my kids the freedom and the peace of mind and the time to develop their own character, to explore, to be curious, to take initiative in different things without being judged and being compared and comparing themselves to this world out there that has nothing to do with them.
Right.
So I'd rather
themselves first.
Yeah, I'd rather take them, which I've been doing. Nicole and I have been doing since they were babies. We take them everywhere. We travel to Africa. We travel to Europe. We travel to South America, Central Africa. We Central America. We travel all these places. I want them to experience cultures and different mentalities, meet people, and see how people really live. I don't want them to look on these pages because that's not real.
That's not real.
That's a false representation of how people live, because you always want to put forth a false narrative that's better than what you're actually going through. Well, I mean, I'm guilty myself. You know, I don't post myself. You know, I don't post pictures of myself where you know, getting up in the morning and eating my oatmeal and you know what I mean.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
No. Come on.
We have enough people posting you everywhere. He probably has a burner account with your picture, of you, thinking, and everybody thinking it's him, but it's really not.
Oh yeah, that's
he's an
out
imposter
there for sure.
He's
There's
an impersonator.
there's a lot of that out there.
Yeah,
you can't keep your
and
finger.
a lot of
on
haters
that.
out there too, as you can tell.
Yeah, but it's dangerous for kids, man, and I want to protect them from that.
Right,
I want to protect them from all these influences and make sure that they have time to be who they are.
Absolutely,
man. Going back to you saying that, like, the experiences that you had, going into different, restaurants and venues or what have you, and then you said you started to kind of pretend, you kind of wanted to pretend like you were that person. That was years ago.
Yeah.
So going into like almost a different character, did that kind of help you transition
That's
into like
interesting.
acting?
That's a good question. Nobody ever asked me that. You're good. That's one. That's number one right there. Nobody's ever asked me that. That's very good. See? It's rare that I hear a question that's never been asked before.
I'm a rare breed.
Congratulations.
You and I were a rare breed.
That's right.
Don't put him in your box, Boris. Don't even do it. No, you're a rare breed. Not we.
That's funny.
There's no we.
That's hilarious.
But I just
you know what? That's a very good question.
But I caught on to that when you were explaining that.
That's a very good question, because I think that we are tempted to play different roles because sometimes, and I'm definitely guilty of that, sometimes when we're not 100% comfortable with who we are at the moment, even if we're just going through a phase, if we're not happy or proud of who we are at the moment, right? Because we've made mistakes, we take on another personality, because even if it's just for a week or two or a couple of months, because we want to be able to look ourselves in the eye and be content with who we are. So we, instead of doing the work, instead of whatever, whether it's therapy or just sort of going inside yourself and figuring out what's up, we just pretend for a little bit that we're still cool and we're still okay. Right. And then I think that leads to other issues. Over time. And I'm certainly guilty of that for sure. So you got to snap out of it, and I think that's what family and friends are for, to help you get your head right. When I come home and I see my kids, they won't go for that. Right. They won't. They know you. They know me. They know the real. Right. So if I play a role, they'll call me on it. My wife, people who care about you, they will call you on it, and that's all we have as a gauge, because especially in a town like this where everybody's acting, everybody sends a representative rather than themselves, because they want to appear as bigger and better than they are, even though they don't realize that they're really doing themselves a disservice, right? Because people want to get to know the real you.
That's why, honestly, like somebody just asked me this the other day. They was like, "Dude, why don't you really walk around with like security like you used to?" Like now I don't really have to, because as you said, you do yourself.
You were pretending,
right? Because now you're now you're projecting and you're kind of putting this persona on yourself that's really not. Unless it's somewhere where you need some protection or what have you. But like when I travel or now I don't really need a bodyguard.
No, why?
Because all it really is going to do is going to bring attention to yourself.
More attention, right? Plus, what I learned is when I travel with security, back, is that now I have to take more responsibility for them and how they're acting. Right,
it's all on you.
And I did that once and never again.
It's hard being yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Let alone
absolutely.
Right, because number one, we're all at this table over 6'2", over 6'3", and then it's like, you're handsome, I'm handsome, I don't know what he is. That in itself brings enough attention.
This guy. This
that
guy.
brings enough attention to yourself. You know what I mean? Then now you got to add it on like security. Seriously talking, you bring on security and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Now people, you know, if they don't know who you are, they're like wondering, like, man, who is that?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
it's
I just
crazy.
came with an idea. Maybe we should get you some security. Then everybody know who you are.
This guy. You know, because it's funny. It's like I think I used to do the same thing with jewelry. I was like the jewelry guy.
That's right.
You know, trying to get
Yeah.
attention. And then like when I finally, you know, matured, became an adult, like at 30, 35-ish, I'm just like, I don't need it. Because again, it's attracting the wrong people.
Absolutely.
You know, attracting the wrong energy. So I feel
You gotta go, you know, on your journey at your own pace. You know, and figure out who you are and take your time doing that.
Right.
You know, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Absolutely.
And you're gonna make mistakes.
Yep.
I made a ton of mistakes, right? So you have to go through that, and I think the less we're able to pretend and the more we're able to really embrace who we are and be happy and joyful with who we are and show gratitude for who we are, you know, in the end, the happier we become as people, and you're stepping into your purpose, right?
Yeah.
Because as long as you're pretending to be somebody else, you won't find your purpose.
Right.
You won't.
And it seems like that's what you're doing with your kids. You're allowing your kids to kind of find
Exactly.
themselves without the other distraction, and you know, continue on like their journey. They're on a path right now, but it's their journey is kind of the end result of who they may become.
Absolutely.
Yep. And speaking of journeys, so tell us about the journey when you finally came over to the States.
So I came over. I was actually a semi-professional tennis player in Germany. So I was one of the top juniors, and
At what age was that?
it was 16, 17, 18, and I that was my path. Like I was going to be the number one in the world. And then I had a back injury. I had
That was a brutal.
chronic sciatica based on stenosis, which is when your spinal cord is so narrow that it continuously pinches your spine, your sciatic nerve, which is like knives going down your legs, and I couldn't play anymore really on that level. It was just too much. So I decided to come here to the States to get my mind off of tennis while I was still, you know, I took a scholarship that was offered to me, and I went to VCU in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, Virginia Commonwealth, right?
Virginia Commonwealth, and I played there, and I got a degree in business, and I stuck around, and I liked it, and I had fun. I went to New York after school and hung out there for a little bit, and I got discovered by this modeling agent, and it allowed me to, you know, travel the world, made some money, and started sort of my professional career in the fashion world. You know, between living in Paris and New York and London and Milan, and I had some great years, great times doing that. You know, nothing better than that coming out of college.
Absolutely.
So that was great, and I actually became introduced into the acting world because one of my friends back then said to me, look, you should go to acting class because you would learn how to lose your accent, your German accent. Because back then I couldn't speak.
Accent, really?
Oh yeah, when you watch early episodes in Soul Food, you can still hear my accent pretty clearly, unfortunately. It's embarrassing.
What's a German? Give me a German accent like.
Well,
that
there's
you could
different.
tell.
There's different degrees. You know, there's the super hard German there. So people talk like this, and I've nice to meet you. I'm Boris Kodjoe, and I'm here for the first time, and I'm, you know, that's the German accent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't probably as harsh as that, but it was pretty noticeable.
It felt like it though.
Yeah. So I went to acting class to learn how to speak English properly. Because you learn how to enunciate and to breathe from your diaphragm rather than your throat. So that already gives you a different sound. Okay. So while I was in acting class, you know, I sort of fell in love with the process, and that's what started me out in that direction. And I took a chance, and I came out here to LA on a modeling assignment actually, and I met some agents here, and first audition was Soul Food.
That's awesome. So again, we like to talk about how athletes and celebrities and entertainers cross over. So again, starting from the sports world, which since we talk about this with every single person we have on the show, right? Tell us how, you know, what was instilled in you when you were playing sports, you know, work ethic, dedication to the sport, and how that helped you transition once you were transitioning.
All of that. I wouldn't be here without tennis.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
No
Really?
doubt. No doubt. Because it prepared me for
tools.
life.
Gave you all the tools.
Gave me all the tools from, you know, growing up in a household without a dad. tennis became my refuge. Right, it became my outlet.
Escape, yeah.
It became my outlet for the anger I had, the frustration that I was feeling, the disappointment, and so that was a great outlet for me. And through playing tennis, I learned about discipline. I learned about structure. I learned about commitment. I learned about the dedication to something, setting goals, being intentional about what you're doing. Taking responsibility, being accountable for what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's all the foundation that built Boris Kodjoe as we know him today, right? Whether it's in business or in the entertainment world or as a husband and father, those are all traits that are necessary
attributes
to be successful in those different fields.
Yeah, I have a clothing line that I'm doing. It's called Prototype 81, and that's kind of like the meaning behind and the mantra of kind of like how I became, who I became, and just everything that you mentioned when you think about desire, dedication, and discipline. That's what it entails. And so, yeah, that's what kind of made me go into what I wanted to do with my clothing line, and just kind of like really some of the background of, the clothing line, put that at the forefront of what I'm doing.
Yep.
Yeah. It's funny that you say escape because, again, when you're playing, like when you're in the moment, like you say, you have season after season and like practice after practice, like you'd wake up and get up at 6, go to the facility there by 6:30, you get back home at like 6 or 7 p.m. Like during those 12 hours, I would never think about nothing else.
Yeah.
And then when I got done playing, like all those worries were on my mind all day.
Yeah.
Like, why is this not leaving? Like, because I usually be at practice. It's a funny thing, but that escape is a big reality booster, when you're in it or when you're not in it anymore. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure. And people go through withdrawal. When you spend half a lifetime playing a sport and then you stop. I mean, people have issues. And I'm a huge proponent of figuring out yourself by way of therapy. Like I've been going to therapy since I was in my late teens.
What kind of therapy?
It's just basically checking in with somebody who has an objective point of view of who you are or what you're doing. So
it's okay to have a therapist.
Absolutely, 100%. Is it okay to have a dentist?
No.
Is it okay to have a dentist?
Right. Work on your
Is it
teeth.
okay?
Absolutely,
Is it
right.
okay to have a cardiologist?
Right.
Is it okay to have a
work on
general
your heart.
practitioner?
Right.
That's a great
Is it
way
okay?
to look at it.
Oh, that's the only way to look at it.
Right, because some people
our
think
mental
that,
our mental is connected with our physical and our spiritual. So why can you take care of your physical, but you can't take care of your mental?
Gotta
That
take
makes
care
no
of your
sense to me
mental.
at all.
Right, but the thing, it's the stigma behind saying someone is like
I'm okay.
mental.
Yeah, but
because they think
I'm
you're
stigmas
Looney
are-
Tune. or
Stigmas
you're
are
not-
here to disprove. I mean, stigmas are a product of learned behavior, which is culture. But there's no laws against breaking those paradigms and starting to move into a direction that actually is helpful to you.
Right.
Why would I continue to perpetuate a myth that actually hurts us? I mean, you can go all the way back for the 400 years when we first started showing up at these shores.
Right.
The first enslaved Africans coming here in 1619, they were robbed of their freedom, of their voice, of their practices, culture, everything. And now that trauma that had been inflicted on us generationally now has turned into those stigmas. Right.
To where we
and
are
the issues
today.
now we are today.
Right,
and we're still
absolutely.
carrying that weight with
That
us
burden.
today,
Yeah,
that burden.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's one thing I never understood coming here. We are so aware and so informed and educated about what happened, about the history
past,
and what happened in these past 400 years, but yet we don't do anything
change the
make
to
a change.
create a system and a mechanism to help us heal as a people, as people of color. That makes no sense to me. And not only don't we heal or show a collective, comprehensive effort to heal, we speak out against it.
Right. Yeah.
We create these myths and stigmas against therapy.
each other,
Makes no so you don't want to progress.
Right,
You
you
don't
don't
want to
better.
heal.
Right, you don't
because
wanna get better,
because when
you
we're
wanna-
talking about creating generational wealth, to closing the wealth gap, and all the social issues and cultural issues that we're talking about, police brutality, all of that is connected
social
with that.
injustices.
We don't want social and cultural and economic equality. We don't want that. Well, let me tell you
say we
something.
want it.
The first step is to heal from the trauma that's been inflicted on us.
Past.
Right.
And then once we free ourselves from that, that's when we can build on a generational level. Before that, you can't build anything on a foundation that's corroded. It's impossible.
True.
So it's all connected.
Right. I mean, again, we usually don't, especially as African American males, we're always have our chest out. I'm too big or I'm too tough.
Because we're compensating.
You know what I'm saying?
We're continuously compensating for our insecurities and our feelings of inferiority. That, again, were caused by this generational trauma. My father-in-law, he's a dentist in Baltimore, an amazing guy. And when we first met, he still would talk to me in a whisper and look over his shoulder every 2 seconds.
Wow.
It's ingrained. It's ingrained in our culture.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And that has to be counteracted, and it can only be counteracted by healing and by showing a collective effort to demystify therapy and everything that's connected with that. And I think people like ourselves, whether we're athletes or entertainers, we can take a stance publicly as much as we can to demystify that 4-hour young black.
And I think there are, like I said, there are elements and bits and pieces of that coming out, like Kevin
Slowly.
Love,
And I
NBA,
appreciate that. Absolutely,
coming out.
It's super important.
And admitting, that like, he's
mental
dealing
health,
with certain issues. Not just Kevin Love. There's a number of others, and I think the NBA has gotten behind that movement. To that the fact that again they're addressing like he's one of our own in the NBA community and family, and they understand too the platform that the NBA has, worldwide. And so obviously, like I said, it has to start here close to home.
Yeah, there was a kid again, Helinski, the Washington State quarterback, who killed himself. While he was at Washington State.
That's right.
Again, that's my little Helinski hope right
Yeah,
here.
yeah. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, so it's a big part of our culture. Again, it's just wasn't always on the forefront because that's the sports is cool. Don't bring that around the cool guys. But no, it's part of it, and people have to deal with it.
Well, but you also have to consider where it started, right? Because you cannot exploit, enslave, abuse people who are not who are healthy, right? So it's much easier to exploit somebody when they don't have a healthy self-image or are conscious and confident about who they are. So it actually helps exploit and oppress people when they aren't in sound mind.
Right.
Let's put it that way, right? So
The vulnerability
is huge. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, again, I'm trying to understand. Like I said, at 45 now, it's different than what my thought process about that would be at 35. Because again,
100%.
it's just like you have to mature and like, yes, I need it. I want to get better, and it becomes that every day, striving to get better every day.
Same here. Every day,
all day.
And then there's days where you take 10 steps back.
Yeah.
And you got to reassess.
Right.
And you got to go back to the drawing board and say, look, that was not smart. That was not good.
Right. So tell us about some like I said, you're acting for 20 years now. Give us
how much
after your soul food, like what happened after that, and give us like when did you know, okay, I'm in this, I'm here to stay.
I think Soul Food did it for me. I was lucky that that was my first real job because it gave me such a great education on what
really
what
acting was your first real job. I would think that like being a model.
Well, it was
like,
that was a real job, definitely, but it wasn't a career for me. I knew that I wasn't going to be in there. I wasn't going to be in there for long because it wasn't as stimulating for me. Because it was based on something I had nothing to do with. Right, I can't take credit for it the way the camera sees me. I mean, I have nothing to do with that. I mean, I will use it, right?
Right.
I will take advantage of the opportunity, but I won't. That doesn't fulfill me.
Right.
And that's not my purpose. I knew that wasn't my purpose. So and even acting is a means to an end for me because it allows me to use a platform that I have to create impact in different directions. Help other people and create initiatives and organizations and build companies and go to the continent and do stuff in Africa. And that's what fulfills me in the end, right? That's what I want to look back to and say that's part of my legacy.
The impact.
Absolutely.
So how much longer? You're 20 years in the game.
Yeah.
What's like, do you have a target of like how many more years you want to do it, or you just gonna just go until you just don't have any love or passion for it?
You know what? I'm in a position. I'm blessed to be in a position where I don't have to work with people who I don't want to work with.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal,
Absolutely.
right? When you can choose the people that you want to surround yourself with, that's a huge deal.
Use a superstar.
I'm saying, you know, because time is my biggest the biggest commodity for me. Because if you pull me out of the house and take me away from my wife, from my kids,
that'd be important.
it's got to be worth my while.
Worthwhile,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So time is huge for me. Relationships is huge for me, because that's all I have in the end, right? The people that are close to me, the people that challenge me, the people that call me out on my shit, the people that are real with me. Those are the people that are important in my life, and those are the people that teach me.
And you said your wife calls you out on your shit, huh?
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my God, absolutely.
As
when
she
was
should.
it? Do you remember like one of the first time she called
First
you out?
time, like she calls him every day. I mean,
Right, it's something.
But like,
That's
was
part
it a
of-
shock to you? But it, like, I get that. Like,
no,
you guys
that's
have
why.
been together for
but
how many
yeah,
years?
that's why I picked her, right?
Right.
I
Yes.
picked her
You want
because, I mean, obviously she's drop dead gorgeous. She's super talented, super smart. She's well traveled, which was important to me because I came from a different continent, and I wanted somebody who had the world, who understands that America is not the world, right? Even though you guys pretend it is.
Absolutely.
Talking about world championships and stuff like that. When you don't even,
They ain't been
when
over
you
to
never
the
left the
world.
country.
Right. Right. That's in the
Talk about,
world. but
We're the
yeah.
world champion. No, you're not. You played against Detroit in the finals.
Right.
So I needed somebody who understood
That's
that
for like
this
the
is,
Olympics. Then you can say.
Then
like
you can say world.
No, then you can say you're Olympic champion. You're still not world champion.
Still in that world.
But you
Unless-
play
No,
different.
if you
countries,
take part in the
people-
world championships and you win, then you're a world champion. Like soccer, if you play in the World
World
Cup,
champion.
you're the world champion. You can say
okay.
that. But any other time, you're not the world champion. When you
But-
play
but
when you
you-
play in the
in the-
NFL and you win the Super Bowl, you're not the world
Nope,
champion.
you're American
But in the
champion.
Olympics, you're playing.
Look, it's just the overall imperialistic sense of mind that you guys have sometimes.
He don't know what that means.
That I'm like, everybody calm down.
Yeah, it's just
America
America.
is just a country.
Yes.
It's just
Another
not
one
the world.
of the countries.
Okay, granted, it's an important country.
Right, yeah,
when
no
you
doubt.
look at foreign policy, yes, I get it.
Yeah.
But there's just as many terrible things that
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys have done in the world
Absolutely.
as probably more than the
Man,
good
you
things.
talking
you've
like
done.
you're not
Okay.
from America.
I'm not.
He's nice.
But
From
you-
Germany.
You
That's what
living
he.
in America.
I live and I love it. I love this country and I love being here.
Right.
But I'm critical too.
I know. I get
Right?
it.
You
Yeah,
see
yeah.
both sides.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you have to be critical.
Right.
So I forgot the question.
That's hilarious.
What
Yeah,
was the
me too.
question?
What were we talking?
We're talking about anyone. What were we
and-
oh no, we're talking about people. My wife. We're talking about my
Oh, yeah,
wife.
can't
we said,
forget your wife.
We said
lovely Nicole
She
Parker.
had to have a global perspective on things, and one of the things I love about her, she's
calling you out on
outspoken.
your shit. That's
She
what I'm
calls
telling
me. She challenges me.
Yeah.
And she's not. Look, she loves me and she protects me and she's got my back like I got her back. But when I mess up, when I screw up, she calls me on it. And we.
that's awesome.
we
That's a
have
good
to-
relationship, though. Right.
Yeah, but a lot of people shy away from that, right? Because it's easier. But I think I can only maximize my own potential if there's somebody who cares about me who calls me on my shit. Otherwise, I'll never step it up.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
You get complacent.
Absolutely.
Speaking of your wife, she acts like you said, beautiful, gorgeous. She's done her thing in both worlds just as you have.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine being Sophie and what's yours?
Nicholas.
I can't imagine having two parents that obviously have graced both worlds, modeling, acting. Do you like? Obviously, they've gotten to experience now who you guys
Do we
are.
celebrate ourselves at home?
No,
Do we have like parades for
walk in,
ourselves at
yeah,
home?
no, I'm no.
Hello, hey, kids.
No, but
Here come your mommy and daddy.
are you encouraging them to kind of follow the same footsteps?
Not at all. No, not at all.
But you're not gonna even have to because I just saw your son at All-Star Weekend.
That's
and
crazy.
Dog, the most handsome guy, bro.
Right.
This bro, he's about to be a problem.
Don't tell
You
him that.
thought you was a problem?
He gonna be a double
Bro,
problem.
Don't tell him that.
That's hilarious.
He probably already knows it. It's like my
No,
son.
but
13,
I'm
too.
super proud. I love my
Yeah.
son Nicholas. He's 13. I'm super proud of him because he's a kind boy.
So I mean,
He
that's
is
what
a
I.
kind. He is a
Awesome.
beautiful, kind, very, very smart, funny, compassionate boy. And Sophie is a beautiful, smart, kind, and that was kindness to me is one of the most important traits that you could
Absolutely.
sort of give.
And that's a testament to you and your wife.
Your upbringing.
Well,
as
you have to place importance on it as a parent, you know, and the way you just basic manners. The fact that when you meet somebody, you look them in the eye, you shake their hand, you introduce yourself. Those things have sort of left the building a little bit, and I think it's important that you place more importance on that as we raise our children.
Right, absolutely.
So yeah, I'm proud of them. They have really.
What are their
developed.
interests? What are their
that-
interests?
yeah,
Well,
that
Nicholas is
acting,
like a little superstar athlete.
Awesome.
He plays basketball and tennis, and he is quickly developing into an amazing athlete. I love watching him.
Right.
Sophie is an artist. She's scholar. She plays the piano. She dances.
Oh, wow.
at Debbie Allen Dance Academy.
Multi-talented.
Yeah, so Nicholas plays the piano and they speak 3 languages, and
Wow.
so I'm super proud of them. And my favorite thing to do is just to watch them, you know, to watch them move around in the world and their little friends and the stuff that they come up with and things they want to discuss. And Sophie's going to the Bay Area in the summer to take part in this big business incubator where she got selected, and she's part of CTY, which is a program for the most talented youth in the world, and she's
Wow.
top
She's
1%
Oh,
of
she's
high school students.
almost
And
genius status.
She's genius, yeah. She's I'm super proud of her.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're both I love them. They're both incredible.
No, is that going to be the longest that she's ever been away from you? And she leaves in the summer?
Yes. You know what? Actually, Sophie came to me 2 years ago, and she had researched a summer camp in Costa Rica,
Wow.
and she wanted to go there with her brother. And we were like, excuse me? And we let them go.
Oh, wow.
We let them go. I mean,
13 and 11 at the time.
yes.
Right?
And I think, and it was hard
Mm-hmm.
because you're a parent and you're scared, but for her to express that showed that they had the confidence in themselves to know that they were going to be okay.
Yeah.
That's wow. Yeah.
So I wanted to support that confidence and show them trust. Of course, we were scared shitless,
Right.
but
You
they
just
did
don't
it.
show that. You
Yeah,
don't show
no,
Right.
but they did it, and it was a great lesson for all of us, you know, because they were ready to do it, and yeah.
That's crazy. So did you take your son and daughter to All-Star, or just your son?
I took my son. Sophie didn't want to go. She's not into sports.
Not into sports at all?
No, she didn't like sports. And Nicholas had never been, so I wanted to take him, and he loved it, and he was so hyped up to meet you and all the guys and be on the court, and
Yeah.
Nice.
and you know he's a ball player, so he's all into that.
Yeah,
And,
you get
We were on the court.
yeah.
I don't know why you was on
we,
the court.
We were on the court.
I don't know
you
why you was on the
I
court.
was
Yeah.
equally as excited to meet his son. You know what I mean? No, his son is bro, he's sprouting up. Because I think, I can't remember that. I think I may have seen him the last time, like we were running.
That's right. He was there. He was tiny.
Yeah, you had him on your
On
shoulder.
my shoulders.
So,
He was
And now
like
he
5.
can't get
yeah.
on your shoulders.
dude.
Dude, no.
Yeah, we were down, was that Manhattan Beach or
Manhattan
something? We
Beach,
were running
yeah.
the hills
Right.
and stuff, working
Yeah,
out. And I was
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
and I'm like, bro, this
The little guy.
Yeah, that was
dude,
him.
I mean, he's sprouted
Yeah.
up.
That's funny. So you
He's
guys go
gonna
to
be
like the
bigger than
games
Pat.
and all that out here, the Laker Clipper games?
Yeah, we go sometimes. Yeah, he loves it.
Are you a Clipper fan or a Laker fan now since you're here in
I love good basketball, and I think this season is the first season in a long time where we have some real parity.
Yeah.
right.
You don't know who's coming out the West.
Yeah, we don't
You
know, and
who's coming
that's
out the
what's
East.
fun. That's what's fun about sports. That there's going to be some surprises. Obviously, I'm a huge Bron fan,
Okay.
and what he brings to the city and the sport, and he and Ant and unbelievable.
AD.
You think they go win it all?
My first my first pick would be the Lakers. My second pick would be Milwaukee.
Wow. No Clippers in there,
Jeez,
huh?
bro, you know,
Clippers.
you gonna look over the Clippers
No.
like that?
No, look, I appreciate the Clippers, especially on the defensive end, because I think that they're the strongest defensive team in the league, and they're very well coached. I think Doc's the best coach in the league. I don't know. I just think that that the Lakers have a tiny edge on them.
I would
But
tend
I
to differ.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And this is how I see it, because I look at, number one, you have Kawhi Leonard. So I compare it to what he did
Last year.
with the Raptors.
Huge.
And I look at the current roster that he has now.
It's
Way
better
better.
than
It's better than
Way
what they
better.
had
I see what
with
you mean.
Toronto.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you add, like you said, the defensive aspect of it's off the chain.
Defense win championship.
So what
Paul
do you? I mean, how do you?
George,
But how
Lou
do you
Williams.
explain? How do you explain the dips? You know, where they lose 5.
They
and
have
then-
they're still coming together.
Okay.
And now since
Right.
the All-Star break is over, this is when most of the good teams do come together. They've been playing well, 5 in a row.
Right.
And I think they'll own March and April, and you'll see them kind of trending up. once
And
the
you have to
playoffs
love it.
start.
understand too, this Paul George
It's just getting heated up.
He wasn't even there
Yeah.
He's just
first
getting
part of
heated
the
up.
season.
Yeah, that's true.
And you got your walking get your bucket at any given time in Lou Williams.
Yep.
Lou
Like,
That's true.
This dude, like, that's where I factor in, like I said, you know, what they can do, you know, deep into the playoffs. Because a lot of people be like, oh, who you think going to win between the Lakers or the Clippers? It's not just one game.
Right, it's 7.
It's like 7.
7.
Well, you gotta win 4, so we'll see.
Right, yeah, exactly.
What about college basketball? It's March Madness now.
I love
right?
college basketball.
Zags, go Zags,
Yep.
baby.
I love it.
even why he
Yeah,
supports
Zags.
Zag.
Baylor's
I think they gonna win it
balling
this
out.
year.
Baylor's
Baylor,
balling
yeah,
out. Gonzaga.
absolutely.
That's where the
Duke.
parity is
Yeah,
in
for
college.
sure.
College.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
you look how many teams have been number
UNC,
one, dropped out.
UNC
Like,
dropped the bottom.
What?
Dropped out.
Yeah.
Kentucky is not
Yeah.
really a favorite
Kansas,
anymore.
yeah.
None of these teams that
The Blue Bloods is not in it.
You got
No.
Auburn. You got the Zags. You got Baylor. You got. It's impressive.
Louisville.
Yeah. Louisville.
man.
He's
I
gonna be
can't
a
wait.
good
I
Final
can't wait
Four.
to see. I can't wait. To
That's
see what,
where the
what
parity
happens.
is.
It's gonna be a good
I
Final
can't see.
Four for sure.
I can't wait to
Speaking
see.
of basketball, I know and you mentioned Lakers. Your son is he a Laker fan? Did he like Kobe? I know obviously, you know, we know that what surrounds
He loves and worships Magic.
Really?
Oh, wow.
He loves and worships Magic.
Magic Johnson.
Magic's a friend of
Wow.
mine, and I love him. And actually, it started when Nicholas was, I think, 5 or 6. No, he was older. He was 7 or 8, and we went to Magic's house, and Nicholas had done a school project on Magic.
Wow.
And he had put it in this folder and with a picture on front, and he had colored it, and he wrote about Magic. He wrote his whole life story. And
That's crazy for
At 7.
and he did that at 7 years old. So we went to his house and he showed it to him, and he was super proud of his folder and his
project.
this project that I did. And Magic took like an hour, and he went and he showed him the trophy room, and they talked about basketball and
Connected.
Oh
and,
wow.
and
that's
then
crazy.
two days later, sleeping, and Nicole wakes me up at like 5 a.m, and she goes, "Somebody is in the house. Go downstairs in the garage. Somebody's in the garage." And she's freaking out, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And I go downstairs, and I hear this weird sound, and I open the garage door, and my 7-year-old is in there with 2 basketballs,
There it is.
doing
Getting it poppin'.
handling drills, like
Yeah.
sweating
I want to be
at
Magic.
5 a.m. And I'm
love
like,
it.
"Nicholas, you know what time it is?
I
What are
love
you
it.
doing?" And he was like, "Magic said I gotta get it in before school. Magic said I gotta get it in before school.
I love
I gotta
it.
get it in before school."
I love it.
And I'm like, "You're out of your mind."
I love it.
So he loves Magic. That's his
Absolutely.
man. That's his man. That's his uncle,
Mm-hmm.
and he loves Magic. Obviously, he loves LeBron. He loves Steve Nash,
Yeah, okay. But he connected with Magic.
and he
for
connected with Magic. And Magic,
Awesome.
you know, and I believe that there's certain things you can't teach, and heart,
Mm-hmm.
and self initiative, which then leads to hard work. That you can't teach that.
Absolutely.
And he's got that. So for Nicholas, I think he's super smart too. Sky's the limit for him. And so it's my job as a father to support him without pushing him.
Mm-hmm.
And especially after he's shown me that he has the desire and the initiative, I will sort of prepare the table for him.
Right.
But he's
Give
going to
him
have
the
to eat.
blueprint.
But he's going to have to eat.
Right.
I'm not going to force feed him. Right. I
sit
can
you down.
I can set the table.
Right.
But you're going to have to eat.
Right. That goes into what I was saying earlier about the desire, dedication,
That's right.
and discipline.
That's exactly what that is.
Nicholas
and I think
has
it's
that
inherent.
desire.
I think it's inherent. I think something that you have or you don't have. I don't
Right.
think you pick that up. You know?
Dude,
don't
I
think
was
you
just
picked that up.
talking to my daughter about volleyball. I just went to her tournament over the weekend, and I was so disappointed in how she played. And so I had to tell her, and I asked her first, like, do you have a passion to play volleyball? And she was like, yes, I love it. I'm like, there's a difference between like and love.
Mm-hmm.
And as you was talking about that fire, that heart, like I can't teach you fire. I can't teach you. I can't give you the heart, you know what I mean, to go out there and play like you really love it.
Yeah.
Play it with some passion when you're out there on the floor. Because, bro, she made all CIF last year as a 10th grader.
Wow.
As a freshman, she played on the
balling,
varsity.
yeah.
So
At
I
a
had
good school, too.
And me being a dad, I had to give her the raw, the real. And I'm like, I went to that game. I didn't see the Kylie that made the freshman as a made varsity as a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I didn't see 10th grade all CIF Kylie on that floor.
Yeah.
I said, I need to see that.
Yeah.
I said, you got to understand, if you're trying to go to college,
How old is she?
she's 15.
Oh, there you go.
Sophomore
And so
in
she's
high
playing
school.
club.
Oh, you know what? I think I saw her. I think I saw you. Oh, that's crazy. I just realized that she plays in the same gym as Nicholas
That's hilarious.
at the same time as Nicholas.
Culver-
They share.
Culver City?
No. They
it over?
In the club.
El Segundo.
Right, the training.
There's a school
Training
and they
facility.
train. There's a
Train.
training facility,
Right.
and I think they play at the same time.
Right.
She plays on one side, he plays on the other.
Right.
The same gym.
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
And I had to tell
Small
her,
world.
like,
Yeah.
especially you have to realize when you're on that court, you have to isolate whatever you're doing pre and post.
Mhm.
Play, like I said, play like Kylie, the freshman that was on varsity.
Hungry.
Play
yeah.
like 10th grader, you made all CIF. Because I had to tell her, like, yo, you have club level volleyball is where all the college
superstars,
scouts.
yeah. The stars are.
Yeah.
And they're
just the-
starting
right.
like when you're a freshman in high
Right.
school.
And so there are college coaches that they do most of their recruiting
Early on.
At
in
those-
club.
they're allowed to
So
go.
I said, yo, you got to understand, like, if you want to go to these colleges, whatever your preference is, they're watching you. They're watching to see what dad was coming to see you play. Coming to see you play.
Yeah.
They're coming to see because
Yeah.
they know who you are.
And,
what
and they're
you've
not
accomplished.
necessarily watching the performance.
No.
They're watching the attitude.
Right.
Absolutely. How you
They're
react
watching
to
how
it.
you carry yourself on the court.
Right.
If you're a distraction to your team or if you are
good
empowering
teammate,
to the team, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I
I
told her,
said
like-
the same thing to Nicola. I said, look, the body language that you
the demeanor.
that you display on the court will either empower your teammates
Yep.
and
Be
inspire
infectious.
them, or it will bring them down, because they look to you for leadership. Right?
Exactly.
So you have to manage your emotions
Yep.
in a way that allows you to pull positivity out of it, not negativity.
Right.
No matter what's going on in the court. Because every possession he plays like it's his last possession.
Right.
Like
Nice.
full on out.
Awesome.
On the defensive end, on the offensive end, it doesn't matter. Like
Right.
he plays full out every single second of the game. But sometimes that comes with an emotional investment
Yep.
that you can sometimes tell when he's disappointed, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
And so he's just learning now how to turn that into positivity and
Control
manage
that.
that.
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
But and that's what's so fun for me, because I love watching and you know,
like
seeing
me,
him
I don't
develop.
get to a lot of her games, but when I go, I watch everything. I
course.
see everything.
Yeah.
I'm watching the other teams. I'm watching like who their star players are, who
Yeah.
I think they are. I'm
Yeah.
watching her team. I'm watching, okay, who are the standout players on her team? And I had to let them like, yo, you're one of the best, if not the best on the team. I said, I said, look, I'm taking my dad hat off. I'm putting myself as just a normal spectator watching your game. I didn't see the
Yeah.
all CIF Kylie.
Right.
I need to see that
Yeah.
person stand out. I told her it's okay to stand out because her teammates know she's a good player, and they're gonna go with, like you said, her energy, her demeanor, her
So
body
important.
language.
Yeah.
Their team,
Says it all.
her teammates are gonna follow her lead because she's one of the elite players. And if she doesn't do anything, they're not gonna do anything.
Especially at that age.
Right.
Again,
And so that's what I'm trying to incorporate. Like I said, I can't teach that.
right.
But if you have a passion for it, that's why I'm asking
it'll
the question.
come
I'm
out.
asking them like, yo,
Yeah.
do you have a passion? What's your passion? Do you like it or do you love it? There's a big difference.
I dropped him off this morning at training, and he got out the car and said, "Come here." He said, "What? Have fun.
Right.
Enjoy yourself.
Don't forget
Yeah.
that.
Don't forget that.
Forget that.
Enjoy
That's
yourself."
part of it too,
And
having fun.
He was like, big smile on his face. He said, "Yeah, thanks. Love you, Daddy." You just got to remind him, because there's so much going on, and we're rushing through the day.
Yeah.
You got to take these moments, and cherish them.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking about the moment, so we have a segment on here called the social status segment, where we like to kind of dig into your social media presence. So what's something that you've had that is like good or bad that somebody kind of, started talking bad to you, good to you?
Say it to you
DM?
crazy where you had to snap back. I don't know how active you are on social media, or you may have a handler.
No, I don't have a handler. Well, recently I had a little run-in with a flight attendant on the flight, and I voiced my sentiments about that.
Nice. Okay.
And it started a little bit of a storm, a Twitter storm.
What
If you will.
airline
Yeah,
was
if you
this?
will. Yeah, it's all squashed. It's all good now. I don't have to rehash it. But it was basically a case of racial bias that I was subjected to, that I didn't like, and I was with my son, which made it worse because now
Absolutely.
He's subjected to this.
we had to go home and talk about it, and
Yep.
it becomes a whole thing and a teaching moment, and it's just exhausting, to do that all the time. So I wasn't happy about it, and I talked about it, and the airline addressed it properly, and they met me at the plane, and afterwards they contacted me and made sure that it's a teachable moment. But it never stops, right? It never stops. It's ongoing. Obviously, the political atmosphere right now doesn't help it. The divisiveness that we're being subjected to right now doesn't help that. So that was probably one of the things recently that I had to endure I started it. I voiced my opinion. So that was a big of a moment, big of an event. But other than that,
But again, that in itself, you saying that, like I said, you started it, but that was a moment where you had to speak up.
Absolutely.
And that's a
Absolutely.
teaching
You have
moment
to.
for your son.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, you can't just take anything.
No.
You know what I mean?
You have to speak up.
Right.
And I think it's also a matter of responsibility when you look at the platform that we enjoy.
Right.
Right. I don't agree with a lot of these celebrities that take advantage of their platform, monetize, do all these things that benefit themselves, but then they don't use the platform to speak up for those who can't speak up for themselves. Or, we talk about whether it's inequality or whatever we want to talk about. Those things are not going to change unless the people who are not affected by that inequality speak out. Right? So those who aren't affected need to make noise in order for something to change.
Absolutely.
So I like lending my voice to causes and initiatives and things that need somebody to shine a light on, or individuals, right? Who don't have a voice, who don't have a platform. I do it in the most classy possible way.
Right.
I don't believe in using profanity to get your point across. I don't think that's necessary. I think you can make a very strong point without being disrespectful.
There's a tactful way.
There's a tactful way to address everything. But
Exactly.
I'm very direct. I don't mince my words. I don't pull any punches. But I make sure that you get the point without having to comment on the way I express myself, because then we're missing the point.
Exactly.
Right? And a lot of people do that. I think that the issue with the whole Snoop and Gayle thing was that he chose words that now miss the point entirely.
Yep.
And then people judged him and attacked
based on
him
what he said.
when the
he said it.
conversation
Yeah,
shouldn't have been about that in the first place,
It was
right?
how he said it.
Yeah, so if we pick the right words, I think we can
Move the meter more.
We can move the needle. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure at that point it was such a hot topic.
Of course
I'm
it
sure,
was.
yeah. Snoop addressed it the way Snoop did it. Now, if he wanted to have some PR to address it, then as you said, with in
a
a
minute.
tactful way, I'm sure it would have been addressed totally different.
Yeah.
But me, I appreciate it because, like I said, number one, he came with it, some authenticity. Because, like I said, it's going like with Snoop, you knew
Something
that
like
was going to come from Snoop versus if you were to address it, it wouldn't have been addressed the way the Snoop did it.
And that's fine.
That's not to say that he was wrong.
Not at all. No.
Right or wrong.
I love him. I think he's incredible. And he was passionate about it. And
Right.
because Kobe was a friend, so I understand where he came from.
Right.
I just use his example as
Right.
as something that we talk about it all the time. People like to miss the point,
Right. Of course.
because they don't want to take responsibility for what the point is.
Right.
So I like nailing them on it without giving them an out.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think if he had used different language, I think we would have gotten to the point quicker and
Yeah,
not be distracted by the words that he used.
Right. And the
You
thing
know?
is,
I supported his point,
Right.
100%.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and I think a lot of people that they knew, like I said, they were in support of Gail. They got his point, but they tried to divert
Because the way he said it.
right.
There you go.
And
Right.
address
That's what I meant. Yeah.
the language. You know what I mean? But they got the point.
Oh, for
course.
sure. The
but
world
as
got the point.
Yeah.
exactly.
So how big of a Kobe fan were you?
I was a huge Kobe fan,
Really?
and so was Nicholas. I met him when I first came to LA.
Wow.
It was his second year, I think, at the Lakers, and yeah, we were introduced. And then the last 20 years, he's left a huge imprint
Yeah.
on us collectively, on me personally.
Right.
Through his career, and he's given us so many incredible moments that of the most significant moments is in LA in the past
Yeah.
20 years, right?
Facts.
For those of us who lived here, especially, being in the arena, whether it was the Forum or Staples Center, and celebrating, and I had a fortune to meet his family, and met his two beautiful sisters, Shea and Sharia, and
Yeah, I know Shea.
yeah,
met her
absolutely.
some
I met
years
his
back.
parents, Joe and
Joe.
Pam, and so it was heart-wrenching for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Same here.
a sad day. I shed a lot of tears. I was really, really affected by it.
You and me, man, this
really,
dude,
really affected.
He's the
Yeah, I text T.
because he knows. I had just seen him. Like I said, his oldest daughter Natalia
Yeah.
played at Sage High School, Sage Hill High School, and my daughter last season, she was a freshman, and they played against each other. So I didn't know he was going to be at the stadium, at the arena, at the gym, and so I walked in. Like I said, I'm a big Kobe fan. I'm walking in. I got on a pair. I think it's the 10 or the 11, the red Kobe's. And so, and then like I said, obviously we knew each other prior. So we sat in the stands and we talked about our daughters. And that was one of the things that he talked about too, just being there in support
Oh, man.
of Natalia. And that's what, kind of what I was, not kind of, but that's what I was doing too in support of my daughter, not having a dad in my household. And when you think about the whole girl dad thing and the movement and, just him making a change. This is post basketball. So as you said, you think about the impact that he had, not only just from an athletic standpoint, sports standpoint, but post basketball.
I think people were surprised how personable he became after
Yeah.
he stopped playing, because we were so used to this intense, focused, sort of single-minded, egotistical at the time person that we knew from when he was playing. That when he came out of that phase of his life and entered this new phase, and he became this super kind, personal, fun-loving, super dad. I think a lot of people hadn't expected that.
Right, because I think, he exhausted himself for 20 years.
Of course.
Through the sport.
And poured himself into basketball, which that's what he wanted to be. That's who he wanted to become. And now it just like he cut that, basically he just shut the switch off on that.
I think that his legacy or his legend would have been exponentially bigger even in the next 20, 30 years because of what he had planned and what he was going to do for kids, for women's sports and entertainment.
Right.
I still am. I'm in disbelief. I'm still crushed, and from a father's standpoint, obviously, it's something that you don't ever want to. It's the biggest nightmare you could possibly ever.
Right.
Ever
you never
imagine.
want to experience that. Like me, bro. It made me like he texted me, and so I remember. I think everybody knows exactly where they were at that time, and Hatch texted me, and so you asked early on the show like how long we've been doing the show. At this point, like we've been about a month. And so I'm in Florida, and so I get a text, and I just glanced down at it, and it just said Kobe. So I didn't really pay attention to it. My response was like, I know Kobe personally. I'm like, okay, yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna reach out to Kobe to bring him on the show.
Mm.
And he was like, no. I was like, and I had to go back and like, you didn't hear him. By that time, I'm getting another message.
Mm.
And I'm like, dude, no.
Yeah.
Bro, honestly, my day
That day shut down.
Oh.
The day
came
was
to
shut
a
I broke
complete-
down right there and then.
bro, you and me both.
I broke
like
down
I'm never
right
near
there.
in tears now.
Yeah.
Bro, like I said, he made
I was
an
in the
impact.
middle of a shoot, and I got
Really?
a text from his trainer's friend, who's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Early on, it wasn't on the news yet, and I was mad. Like I told him that's not funny.
Right.
You know, I texted him back. That's not funny. That's not a funny joke.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said nope. And and then worse. After that, I got a text that they thought Rick was on.
Fox was on there.
Yeah.
I did too. I got it.
Called Rick, and he didn't answer. And so I was
Devastated.
devastated.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Yeah.
It was really, really sad. Really, really
That was a
sad.
dark
For
day.
me,
it was a dark
it's
day.
like you said, it just seems unreal,
Still.
unbelievable.
Yeah. Still.
It's
But you know what? You know what though? You gotta say, that experience just sort of reinforced what we already know, but sometimes we forget, is that it's not guaranteed, and that we gotta cherish these moments. Like right now, we gotta cherish the moments we spend with those that we love.
Absolutely.
Our children and our spouses and our friends, and we got to make those moments count.
Yeah.
And because sometimes I can honestly say, sometimes I think I have, I got all the time in the world. So I'm selfish, and I do things that are counterproductive to spending quality time with those who I love, and that really woke me up. Honestly, it really, really woke me up. I turned down a lot of stuff right after, because I'm not going to spend another minute doing something that doesn't have a purpose, or it doesn't move the needle, or it doesn't bring me closer to those who I love. Right. I'm just not going to do it anymore.
Man, I'm telling, like I didn't, like I said, I didn't. I think we all share. I didn't have a dad growing up, so for me, dude, it immediately it did something to me. I FaceTimed my daughter, told her I loved her.
Yep.
Dude, I had tears in my eyes.
Yep.
I mean, and obviously that was her first experience, probably seeing me cry in that manner. And bro, it just like
you just never know.
Yeah, it put everything in perspective. And as you said, moving forward, it kind of like said what he's been able to do and accomplish, and just the outpour of love, just just in the Los Angeles community, but across the globe, of what, again, everybody has taken something from Kobe and tried to, I guess, interject into their lives as far as how they move forward. Just like you said, you're now turning down things because you now realize what's most important. I think we all take life for granted. Just like that's why it's such a shock for us with Kobe being gone, because it was so unexpected. Everybody thought, Kobe was gonna be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But no. Hey, we appreciate you coming on here and spending
thank
time
you
with
guys.
us.
It's
though.
been great.
No, that's that's
I'm gonna
part
come
of
back.
it. You know what I'm saying?
I'll
Definitely
bring
come
Nicholas
back.
next time.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, so yeah.
You can come over
Thanks
here and
thanks for coming out, man. We
Appreciate
enjoyed
you
it.
guys.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
I know you have a busy schedule, and this is an honor for us, because just as you just said, you've turned down things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh no, but this was a priority for me. Just,
appreciate that,
I love you both, and thanks for having me. And I got to come back. We'll do this again.
Already.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, brother.
Boris Kodjoe,
My man.
everyone.
My man, appreciate it. 3 and Out segment on the Get Your Popcorn podcast.
Yep. A recap of 3 things that we one or each other kind of got from the interview. And I think first and foremost, what I got from him, and I wrote it down as we started the show, because I started to hear him say, it was my fault. It was he was taking accountability.
Mm-hmm,
So that was one of the things that I picked up on right away, is that he's a guy of accountability, and that is hard to find these days.
It's the integrity of that man is hard to find. And
Yeah.
again, I was kind of spoke on a little bit, especially as African American males, right? We're tough, we're edgy, but he's found the softer side of still being masculine, and he's
Right.
instilling that in his kids as well, which is
Right.
also very impressive. But he's an impressive dude.
Yeah.
He's still masculine, still a big guy,
Right.
but again, he's got that softer side, which is, of course, is just real for him. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
And I
saying?
think a lot of people looking at him, and you think about him and his wife. His wife is drop dead gorgeous. He's a handsome guy. In Hollywood here, you have what we call power couples.
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
my mind, that's
Yeah.
kind of what they are. I mean,
Yep.
whether the media says they are or not, but I'm sure they've on some publications they've probably been viewed as a power couple. In my mind, that's who they are. But it goes beyond the
that.
surface
Yeah.
of what everybody else sees, especially sitting here talking with him today.
Well, especially when I think you see how the kids have been brought up, and like I say, you've seen the kid. When you're impressed with a 13-year-old, it goes back to the parents.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know who you are, kid, but your parents are doing a great job with you. And it's just, it's kind of that obvious when you're, how highly you spoke of him. I haven't met Nicholas, but how highly you spoke of him. And of course, his image that he perceived right here, of the image that I think that Nicholas is, it's very impressive. It's a very impressive kid. Again, to go out and be in your, one thing that, I wanted to talk about at the end was how he went out to the garage at 5 a.m.
That was one of my things.
and he's doing that. He's practicing his dribbling because of who it came from and because he had the passion to do it. I know a lot of kids or people, grown-ups who got was told something by a Will Smith or Jamie Foxx or Kobe Bryant, and they're like, "Yo, it touched him for the moment." But the next day, they just went on and did the exact same old thing.
The desire may have been there temporarily.
Which doesn't matter.
Right. But that goes and factors into like my other 2 Ds, is that dedication and discipline.
To do it. To actually wake up and go do it.
Right. At 5 a.m.
At 5 a.m., 7 years old.
Had his mom spooked, thinking somebody was
broke into the house.
Had broken in that house, and he's down there, and man, Boris talking about he's sweating.
Right, yeah. So he didn't start at 5. He was into his workout at 5 a.m.
He had already worked up a lather. So that was
impressive. That's very impressive. And again, I think another thing that stood out to me as far as him, when again, he didn't even speak good English when he got over here. So a lot of people out there, like, again, you're trying to get into the acting world or even like the sports world, you're going to have to lose yourself into that craft. And for him to go in and lose his accent, which is hard to do, obviously.
The dialect is
alone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right.
So I can imagine, like, that's almost like us trying to speak a foreign language.
Right.
Trying to, you've been trying to do it. You've been trying to do it.
Absolutely.
An Australian accent, an Indian accent. Bro, you're butchering it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got, first of all, to do that and carry it out through a movie.
A show, the whole character. It's impressive.
That's perfecting a craft and really just honing in on what you're supposed to be doing.
But check out Boris check out Boris Kodjoe on Station 19, TV show out right now.
And be sure to subscribe to Get Your Popcorn Ready on the Himalaya app or wherever you get your podcasts.